Hello, I'm Barry Shore. We are in the midst of the information age. Most of us touch it many, many times every day, from social networking to enterprise resource planning systems in our organizations, to the bills we get, to the bills we pay. Next to me, Sharm Manwani is on the faculty at the Henley Business School outside of London, and he has just written a very interesting book entitled IT-Enabled Business Change, Successful Management. Sharm, why did you write the book? Let's start there.
Lots of reasons, Barry, lots of reasons. The primary one being that as a CIO for many years, I saw a lot of projects and programs where people struggled to really understand what was going on. They understood their little bit of the program or project. They might be a systems analyst, they might be a developer, they might be a business manager, a user, a project manager. But where they really struggled was to understand how did the whole business change work.
Yes. It's complex, and of course a larger organization, and the more complex the IT implementation is, the IT consequence on the change is, the more likely it is to be broken up into digestible pieces. And we all know work breakdown structures, and the whole philosophy behind that is to break it down into digestible bits. And as a result, the step of integrating it all becomes almost overwhelming in complex systems, doesn't it? And then when you leave out not only that, but the fact that this is both a technical system and the human element in putting together the system, in implementing the system, and using the system together. So there's such complexity here from many different points of view. You know, you talked about a framework, and that's often a helpful way. Could you share with us what that framework is?
Yes, it comes from the fact that most frameworks around the engineering stage, for example, take the systems development framework, starts off with the analysis, goes through design, build, test, and implement. But it's very solution focused. What we're doing here is really with quite a fuzzy process. You know, it starts off with the alignment of lots of different stakeholders, which is pretty fuzzy. It's difficult to get all these stakeholders working together around a common set of goals. And then, yes, you've got to develop a solution, but it's not an IT solution, it's a business solution. It involves people, processes, information, technology. And then we finish with another fuzzy phase, which is making sure those benefits are driven out. And we've got to transform that into a real organizational advantage.
What would you say is the most difficult stage for most organizations in putting together an effective strategy to approach a major effort in business change? What's the biggest roadblock that they face?
I think the biggest roadblock is that there's so much else going on. You know, there's so many initiatives, there's so much drive in terms of operational work, and getting the focus on a new initiative, appointing the right person, that executive sponsor, getting that individual right. And I think from my perspective, one of the things I did as CIO was very much educate and work with those executive sponsors. They need to be coached.
Yeah. And by the way, you have written a book from the practitioners as well as the educator's point of view, because you were CIO of Electrolux and were instrumental in many changes, IT-enabled business changes throughout the world. Absolutely.
So we're involved with mergers, business process re-engineering, big IT implementations, and across different nationalities, different cultures. Great experience.
When we think about IT-enabled business change, I think that the focus tends to be, I want to get back to that point about this sort of holistic approach, this hard and soft side. The tendency is to focus on the hard side, because the IT is very formidable today. And, you know, it's a tough nut to crack. If you go into an enterprise integration system, you know, there's so much complexity there that the first thing you want to do is to jump in and start to solve the problems, the real problems.
And that's particularly the case if it's set up as an IT project, because IT people are great at solving problems, but what you're doing here is, before you get down to the solution, is identifying what is the real problem you want to solve. And like a lot of these things, it's about doing the right thing before you do it right.
Yes. So it's this upfront sort of allocation of energy, time, and resources that's critically important.
It is.
To build a whole picture, that is.
It certainly is.
Get hard and soft side. Great. IT-enabled business change, successful management by Dr. Sharm Manwani. Really interesting reading from a person who's done it and a person who's taught it. Thanks very much. I'm very sure.